This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant reaction to every single Rays game. My name is Jonathan Shields. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. Honestly, guys, super disappointing performance from the Rays today. Obviously after the game last night, can't get your hopes too high, can't get too down from a game like this. But I just feel like the Rays missed out on a ton of opportunities, ton of chances to not only get back in this game, to really win this game. In all honesty, but in this one, we're going to talk about how Uceta kind of fell back into that early season version of him. We're going to talk about Drew Rasmussen did not have his best stuff, but he battled, and I thought it was quite admirable the way that he battled. We're going to talk about how this series ended up in a split, and we're going to look ahead to the Tiger series. But first, we got to talk about how the offense missed out on a ton of opportunities.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Shout out to Danny Jansen. Rays take the lead in the third, and then we always talk about it. The shutdown and after scoring is so crucial. The Rays can't get that. The Orioles tie it, and then obviously you get a three-run home run, but we'll circle all back to that. In the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings, the Rays got runners in scoring position. In the 8th inning, they had bases loaded, and they got 0 runs out of it. In the 8th, in the 7th, and 8th innings, they had guys with runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs. In the 7th inning, they had guys with second and third with 0 outs. And it was honestly just disgusting at bats, if I'm being honest. In the 6th inning, Aranda jumps on the first pitch after Yandy doubles. That one's a little bit more forgivable, fine. 7th inning is where things really started to get dicey. I thought Cabby was he had a great play in the field, but I thought all of his at-bats, he got hit by a pitch and came out to score, but his next 3 at-bats were not good by him at all. And I'm going to be a little bit more critical on him because, I don't think enough people are, frankly. I mean, his last 3 at-bats in this game were awful, and he always seemed to come up in a really big spot. So it started in the 7th after Caminero and Junior had 2 huge walks in this game. And the one in the 7th was a little easy because it was on 4 pitches. But then Magnus singles, you have first and second, wild pitch gives him a second and third, and then Cabby strikes out right after. So it was 2 strikes. It's a little bit it is a little bit more, I guess, forgivable. I don't know, strike on that spot's never forgivable. You got to put bat on ball. And then Cam Eisner steps up. And Cam Eisner is a guy, I did a big deep dive into his stats coming into this game. There's 2 things I did a huge deep dive in. Cam Eisner's stats was one of them, and we'll get into the second one momentarily. Cam Eisner is hitting under 150 in his last 50 games, and it's going to be even more than that. That was coming into this game. I mean, he's been awful, and I get he plays a good center field. I don't even think he's a great center fielder. He plays a good center field. In May, he is 5 for 34. That's good for batting 147. That's 5 for 34. In June, I mean. In May, he was 11 for 80, 138. When you have Chandler Simpson in the minor leagues, there is no reason why Cam Eisner should be on this roster. I get the defense. I get it. That is the response. Cam Eisner plays above average defense. I get it. But, man, if you have Jake Mangum in center and obviously when Richard Pistachios come back, Meisner is going to be the guy that's sent down. It's not going to be Morel. And we're going to get into Morel in a second. But, I mean, he comes up, and that at-bat that he had was awful. I mean, he got folded on the same pitch twice. And I understand when you are trying to hit 97, you got to load up, and then you throw a splitter, and the splitter's disgusting. I get it. But, man, in that spot, you need to move the baseball. You need to make contact. You need to at least get 1 run in. And he strikes out in like 4 pitches. And then you go to Danny Jansen, and, Jansen had a fine at bat, but it doesn't matter. Second and third, nobody out. You get 0 runs in a 4-1 game. That is not acceptable. Going 1 for 9 runs, scoring position is not acceptable. And then the 8th, you get bases loaded. And then Kevin Cash makes the worst decision I think he's made since he made Junior play first base against the Phillies. Jonathan Aranda, this other thing I did a deep dive into. Jonathan Aranda hits 286 against lefties. Christian Morel hits a $185. Jonathan Aranda hits 100 points better. I don't care who is pitching. Jonathan Aranda is the best hitting first baseman in the American League. He's the second best first baseman in baseball. There's no rhyme, reason. There's no excuse for lifting him there. And not to mention, you're not looking for a home run. A home run's nice. A home run will tie the game. I get it. Does Merrill have more pop than Aranda? Yeah, he does. But you're talking about a guy that you are going to put money on to put the bat on the ball in that situation. I would put money on the 3 Rays I trust most with a runner on third, 0 or 1 out. To get that runner in is Yandy, is Jake Mangum, and Jonathan Aranda. And I'm saying that in putting the bat on ball to put the ball in play. Christian Morel is the guy I probably trust least. Him and Cam Meiser I trust least on this team to put bat on ball in a clutch situation like that. And that's nothing against Christian Morel. We're going to get more into Christian Morel later and how I actually think he deserves to start 2 of the 3 games in the Tiger series, even though it's going to be all righties. But you just, I mean, that is kind of unforgivable in that spot to me, because I'm so against pitch hitting your best hitter. And if you're going to pinch hit a lefty, pitch hit Brandon Lau. He's hitting sub 150 against lefties this year. And Curtis Mead, I kind of trust. Curtis Mead is hitting better against lefties than Christian Morel is. And those are the guys that you would have pinch hit for in that spot. So it made 0 sense to me, besides the fact that it's a righty versus a lefty. That's the only part that made sense to me. If you look at the stats, if you look at all the stats you want to look at, it favors Aranda. It just makes no sense to me. And that was one of the biggest moments of the game. But the turning point came a lot earlier in the game in the 5th with another kind of patented Edwin Uceta 3-run home run.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It's the early season Edwin Uceta in this game. I mean, just completely missed his spot in a fastball. They wanted that ball way above the zone. It ended up middle. And Colton Cowser, who's apparently was hitting like a $130 when he came in here, has 3 home runs and 8 RBIs this series against the Rays, or whatever the number ends up being. But look, you said a pitch yesterday. I get it, but I mean, this was, let's see, this was at least the second 3-run home run he's given up, at least the third. I mean, but you know, I think he's already given up more home runs this year than he did last year. So far this season, he's given up 7 home runs. In all of 2024, he gave up 2 home runs. And the numbers are kind of similar because Uceta really didn't come on to the second half of the year. So, I mean, that was just a complete mislocation by Uceta. And Uceta's the guy that's been really good lately. But, man, I mean, if you're going to miss, you can't miss middle. And you can't miss with a fastball that doesn't blow people away. I mean, his fastball, I've seen it hit like 95, 96, maybe a few times, but that thing sits 94, 93, and mostly 93. And when you leave that belt high, I mean, that's what made it hurt even more, because it was a misplacement. You saw Danny Jansen, if you're listening on podcast, he put his glove like above his head, indicating that you want it above the zone to set up the changeup, to change the eye level, to set up the changeup, to go low and away to him, to the lefties, which you said is so good at with that changeup. But you miss the spot, and boom, it's into the seats. Just really tough. But we will talk about Drew Rasmussen. We're going to talk about more about the series split, and we're going to get to your guys' comments right after this. This episode is brought to you by Trade Coffee. Whether you're gearing up for back-to-back meetings, shuttling kids back and forth to activities, or tackling an endless to-do list, your morning sets the tone for it all. That's why I should start with the perfect cup of coffee, crafted just for you. Enter Trade Coffee. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the United States, delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they got a roast you'll love. I took Trade's quiz. It only took a minute, and the first bag they sent me was 100% spot on. Right now, Trade is offering an exclusive discount for our customers. It's 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. That's TRADE.com/LockedOnMLB for 50% off your 1-month trial. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's a game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Price on the app actually drop closer to get the first pitch. They've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worrying out of buying. And that's the thing with Game Time. You can see where you guys are going to sit. When I went to the game, they gave me a perfect view where I was going to sit. I used the code, and I got my seat for free because my seat was only $15. So it is the best ticketing app that you can use. And you can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So if you guys are in the live, make sure you leave a comment. We'll be getting to them momentarily. But I want to quickly talk about Christopher Morel today because he's also not been good at as a pinch hitter this year. And he went up there and gave 3 really bad swings. But he deserves to be in the lineup for the next 3 days. Again, you need to give him a real shot. You can't play him once every 4th day, especially with Cam Meisner hitting less than $150 the last 50 or so games. It just can't happen. Morel needs to be in the lineup tomorrow and Sunday. They need to do what they do with Walls and Cabby. Play them every other day. Is Morel plays tomorrow, Meisner plays the next day, Morel plays the day after that, and then Meisner plays Tuesday in Kansas City, so on and so forth the rest of the year. That's the only way, in my opinion, that you're going to see what you have out of Morel before you have to decide between Pistachios, Morel, and Meisner. And eventually you have to bring up Chandler again and say, look, like, what do we really have here? What are we really doing here? And I think, honestly, that's what the Rays need to do, and I think that's what they will do. But let's talk about Drew Rasmussen. And I thought he really battled. And I thought a sneaky good sign. He ended up giving up only 2 earned, but 3 walks. Very undrew-like. Season high in walks for him. But encouraging to see, it was his most pitches in a game this year. I believe he finished with 91. Let me double check. 92 pitches, only 55 strikes. Again, very unlike him. But his last 2 outings against Messi through 87 and today through 92. So hopefully we're off the inning, or not the inning, the pitch count limit with him, and he can really just go out there and shove. So again, when your starter gives up 2 runs over 5 1/3, you take that every single day of the week. The Rays offense, again, just missed those opportunities in a big time way. So again, the Rays split the series. It's tough because in order to have a winning homestand, Detroit's really good. If you win today, then you set up only need to win one of 3 against the Tigers to clinch that winning homestand. So instead, the Rays are going to have to go win a series against the MLB's best team. And let's preview that series. The game tomorrow, is that right? Is it at 7:05 tomorrow? Let me double check. They haven't had a game at 7:05 in a long time. Oh, I guess because it's a Friday night game, they do it a little bit differently. But anyway, game at 7:05 tomorrow for the Rays will be Jack Flaherty for the Tigers. Obviously, he was on the Dodgers last year. He got traded from the Tigers to the Dodgers. Now he's back with the Tigers. He's with the Cardinals for a long time. So far this year, he's 5-7 with a little bit over a 4 ERA, 90 strikeouts. He's a big strikeout guy, and he's coming off probably his worst out in the year. He gave up 7 earned against Cincinnati, over 4 2/3. But before that, he had his best outing of the year. He went 6 innings, 2 hits against 9 strikeouts against the Cubs lineup, who's probably the best lineup in baseball, them and the Dodgers. But he's been inconsistent. He went through a stretch where he gave up 4 runs, 5 runs, 7 runs. But he's also had back-to-back. He also had a stretch over 18 innings where he didn't give up, where he only gave up 1 run. So it'll be interesting to see what Jack Flaherty we get tomorrow. And it's going to be interesting to see what Shane Boswell we get tomorrow, because Shane's been really good lately, and he's coming off, in my opinion, his best outing of the year. That includes the San Diego outing. Because to me, though, the big times that he stepped up in this one are even more noticeable. When he blew 99 past Pete Alonso with the game on the line, bases loaded, it was a little bit noticeable. But he's coming off. The Rays have won his last 5 starts, and he's upped his record from 3-3 to 6-3 during that time. And he's dropped his ERA from 5.3 to 4.5. So continuing to need good stuff. And again, from the Rays pitchers, all you can ask for: go 6 innings, 3 runs or less. That's kind of the trademark for me, to show if you had a good outing, go get that quality start, which the Rays have been fantastic at this year. So, the lineup for the Tigers have been really good, but they don't have too many like household names when you go look at them. And they're also coming off a brutal doubleheader today in Pittsburgh. So they just wrapped up their doubleheader, and it was rain delayed, all that stuff. So hopefully, they can be a little jet lagged, and the Rays can grab a win tomorrow and start that series off on the right foot. But Gleyber Torres leads them in average at 281. him and Riley Green, they're probably their two best hitters. What's his face is Javier Baez is having like a bounce back year. He's hitting 293, but he's played in about 10 less games than the other two, so that's why I count the other two. And when I talk about the best average, but again, going to be a really, really tough task. But now let's get to the comments. And a really big thing, Gary talks about hope Hunter Biggie's all right. Yeah, super scary moment. I always thought, they put the what's it called, the netting up for the fans. They're never going to do that for the dugouts, but man, I mean, something like this is bound to happen, and just really good that he was able to give a thumbs up on his way out. And he talked about Gary also talks about a split with the Orioles. Supreme test. I like that word coming out for the Tigers. Look forward to see how the Rays match up against with this Detroit team. They've been the best team in the AL for basically the entire year. Yes, they have. And the Rays went to New York when the Mets were the best team in baseball and swept them. So the Rays have done actually quite well with against some of the other top teams in baseball. So hopefully that continues. We go Jack's takes. He says lifting your best hitter in a round to get a look at Morel. I don't think it was a look at Morel. I just thought he had the best chance. I literally thought he had the best chance to hit a home run in that spot. I thought that's what he was going for. They settled and they gambled and did not pay off. They gambled and put Brandon Lau in yesterday when Curtis Mead was 2 for 2 and got on base 2 times and it paid off. So, not going to crucify Kevin Cash for it, but it is pretty egregious. I think it's one of his worst decisions so far this year. As Gary talks about, Junior is over the last 25 games, 10 home runs, 28 RBIs, 323 batting average. And I wonder what his on base is because he's been taking a lot of walks. And he took the walk in the 8th to make the bases loaded was super impressive to me because a lot of times Junior would go chase those 2 sliders, and that shows the maturity. Like he went over to had the 2 walks, but in May so far he's already walked 10 times in about 65 plate appearances. So that's way better than the number that he was up at. As It's Cat talks about 1-9 with runners in scoring position isn't going to cut it. It's not, and you're not going to go 9 for 13 like they did yesterday. I agree, you're going to have to find that medium, but man. A lot of missed opportunities and not being able to, you don't even need a hit to get the guy in from third with less than 2 outs. That was the most discouraging part. And it's something the Rays have been really good at this year is getting that guy home from 2 outs with less than 2 outs. It's something they were really bad at last year. So hopefully it evens out in the Rays' favor going into Detroit. As Gary has a super cool stat here. Since the postcast began on April 19th, the Rays record is 32 and 22, a .593 winning percentage. Thanks to Jonathan Big Game Shields. Hey, since I do this, remember, I say a bunch of stuff and Kevin Cash does it. So I'm telling you, Kevin Cash is an ample listener to the Rays postcast. And again, Kevin, there's no manager I'd rather have on my team than Kevin Cash. I think all you guys know that. I've made that abundantly clear. But yeah, it's been a great ride doing this postcast. And honestly, it is awesome to do. As also, Gary, any thoughts on Connor Seabold up and sending out Cole Suster? I think it's awesome that Seabold gave them, I think, 2 2/3 and saved that bullpen. I mean, that's what he did. He was running on fumes at the end. He was still able to get out there. As we go to Michael Townley, he says, I hope someone asks Kevin why he lets Brandon Lau take that bat versus the lefty was hitting worse than Morel and Ronda. Yeah, that's what I talked about. I don't know if you were in live when we talked about it, but yeah, that's exactly what I talked about earlier. It is exactly that. And I don't know. It's a situation thing. There was no one in scoring position when Brandon Lau came up, but I'm with you. Brandon Lau just doesn't look comfortable against lefties. And it's not like his entire career is hit bad. I mean, I think last year he hit above 260 against lefties. He's had multiple times in his career where he's hit above 260 against lefties. But he's had, I think this would be the 3rd year where he's hit sub 200 against lefties. So it's hot or cold for him. And see some comments, got to give credit to Charlie Morton 100%. And I'm a big fan of Charlie Morton. So I literally said yesterday, I hope that he has one more bat out against the Rays and it goes has a great rest of the year. But it never softens the blow when the Rays should have added on. But man, his curveball is disgusting as ever. It's good to see him. Good to see him go do it. As Mike H talks about, Rays magic seems to come in different waves. It really, really does. It is quite funny. As we go to Gary, it's a good point to have. The Tigers bullpen seems to be the foremost weakness, an area they will likely address in the weeks leading up to the trade deadline, but they are not going to be able to address it before tomorrow. And again, guys, the Tigers have had a hellish past 2 days. They were rained out yesterday against Pittsburgh. They had to play a doubleheader in Pittsburgh. Against Pittsburgh today. And since Pittsburgh's in the National League, this is the only time they're going to play, so they had to get the game in today. I think they ended up actually sweeping the doubleheader. No, they split the doubleheader, but they had to play those games, so it just ended just now. And those were supposed to be at like 1 and 4 today, I'm pretty sure. And it ended up not, they're supposed to have getaway day and end up not leaving till they won't get to Tampa till 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So be interested to see how that works out for tomorrow. As to go to Mike, he says, how about that hat the Orioles have? Should the Rays start a new prop after a home run, and what would it be? I'm not sure. I'm not the. I don't. I never. It's fun. I'm never like super into. Ooh, what does every single team do for their home run celebration? But it would be cool to see the Rays do something. I don't know. Really have an idea? Maybe something associated with it, like a stingray thing. But I don't know. You know, those guys are creative enough. I think they could figure something out. It'd be cool to see, but you know, not something I'm like, man, I really wish the Rays did something different after a home run. I mean, you guys know what I mean. But anyway, I appreciate everyone jumping in here. If you guys are in the live, make sure you leave a like and comment. Obviously, a much smaller crowd than was in here last night, but these are the OGs. So I appreciate all you guys for being in here. If you guys are watching the replay, make sure you leave a like and comment as well. If you guys are listening on podcast, rate it 5 stars. And if you guys are not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed to the podcast as well. Make sure you guys always download them. But again, we'll be back tomorrow night, 7 o'clock first pitch, a little bit earlier because of the Friday start. It was pouring. It was raining cats and dogs here today. So hopefully the weather stays clear tomorrow. And if you guys made all the win, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.